I am back. I know this video is late. Very late. And I think that is indicative of the lack of enthusiasm that it kind of generates. It's not a terrible show, but it's not a great show. So it is kind of difficult to keep up with it, especially when a lot of things are happening in one's life. So I'm very behind. I'm so behind that the finale is dropping today, and I have yet to review 5, 6, 7, 8. But the truth is, I do not care about this show enough to do a full review of all of them. So I'm just going to do them all together. And I actually made some notes as I was watching them because I kind of binged them because I got behind. And let's start with episode 5. My notes say fun but pointless, and then Kamala with all capital letters, because basically this episode was obsessed with bringing up Kamala. I almost said Kamala Harris. Kamala Khan, which is the Miss Marvel. There was a show, Miss Marvel. I never saw it. I have no opinion on it, but they did bring it up a lot because the bank manager that this entire story kind of revolves around is, I think, Kamala's father. So he brings up his daughter a lot. Basically, there's a bank robbery and Matt is involved in it. He has to save people in the bank robbery. Very self-contained, very irrelevant to the entire plot. It was fun and kind of silly. It felt like kind of empty calories. And the fight scene in the stairway was pretty good. Like he had this, it was like with a tie or something. I kind of liked it. I think it had some good uses of his hearing. Like his hearing, I think this show in general does a pretty good job of utilizing his specific set of auditory related skills in fun ways, and the way they present it to the audience with that kind of zoom effect is very cool. I like that. I like that a lot. The diamond switcheroo at the end was so dumb because basically the thieves are trying to steal this diamond, and then Matt gets a hold of the diamond, and to save the hostages, he like throws the diamond to the bank robbers or whatever, and they think they got away with the diamond, but it turns out that he switched it with this candy that is introduced at the beginning of the episode, that look kind of similar. Problem with that is that plan only works if you know that the diamond and that candy has a similar color. A blind man could not come up with that plan. And you could say, oh, the bank manager came up with that plan. No, he certainly did not. The bank manager, frankly, does not appear to have the cojones to come up with that scheme. It had to have been Matt. And Matt literally is blind and literally doesn't know that that candy and that diamond look alike. He doesn't know. So that doesn't make any sense. But the show was fine. It had a weird tone. It just felt very disconnected from the rest of it. And my understanding, based on some reading that one of you sent me, thank you for that, it appears that that episode is the only episode that was untouched by the rewrites and the reshoots of the season. So this is kind of indicative of the tone it would have had, which is very more Marvel-y, more maybe integrated into the Marvel universe, and also not as serious. At least that's my impression. Maybe they were going to go with a more self-contained stuff. I don't know. Also, the final like surprise boss of the robbers, not a surprise. The way they shot that one girl, she was so distinct looking. I knew she had to be someone. There was no way she was just an extra. So I kind of saw that coming from a mile away. But whatever. That was that episode. Episode 6. This is where they introduce the serial killer that could have been like the focus of the entire season, but instead they introduce him in episode 6. Episode 6 of a 9-episode show. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? God. So they found out that there's a serial killer, and Fisk has this pretty good line where, I wrote it down. When the sanitation department finds out about a serial killer before the police department, then perhaps it's time to change protocols. Good line. Like to see it. Fisk in general, very fun stuff. I liked that part of the episode. But then Ector's niece comes to Matt's office to basically try to convince him to help her find the serial killer for reasons. And and she gives him such a talking to, and I hate it. I hate it so much. It was written so insincerely. It's so obvious the writers are speaking through this child and not the child's voice. Because you need a certain amount of information about Matt to have this put down and be angry at him in this way. I don't mind that this child is angry and unreasonable. Her uncle just died. That's fine. That makes sense. It's the way she is. The way she goes from 0 to 100 over what appears to be Matt's question about, like, what do you want me to do about it? And she blows up at him, like, you don't do enough, you did this, no one cares about this, and I thought you were better than that, basically. And I'm like, if you know he's Daredevil, that makes sort of sense. But you don't. He's a blind lawyer. What do you expect him to do? It doesn't make any sense. It feels so fabricated and false. And it also, even if you know context around Matt, it feels hollow to the audience because we just watched him save some people in a bank heist like 10 seconds ago. We know he's doing something. So it rings hollow to us. It feels like the writers are trying to make us feel like, oh, he's not doing enough. But that's not how we feel. It doesn't read right. It reads so bad. Oh my God. I know writing children is difficult. It's a challenge. But no. They did it this way so that she could get angry and decide to go chase after the serial killer herself, and then she successfully finds the serial killer who captures her and is going to make her a part of his mural. That's the kind of serial killer Muse is. He like drains their blood and makes murals on the walls. That's what he does. And Matt finds out that she's missing and he calls 911 to report it. And in the middle of the call decides, like, screw it, I'm going to do it myself. And then doesn't answer the 911 call, which, if I'm not mistaken, isn't the 911 supposed to show up at the location that the call, like, I feel like that could get dicey. He doesn't want people to show up at his house. I don't know. But he goes to save her and finds Muse immediately. And then he was supposed to build up this villain and all the trailers and all this and like, oh, this serial killer, yada, yada, yada. Immediately. They introduced him in this episode, basically. And we find his hideout and he gets like in his entire thing blown open immediately. We don't even see how Matt does it. There's like this throwaway line by Ector's niece about like all the disappearances are on this one train line or something. So presumably he went along the train line and stumbled across it. But the instantaneous, no effort to find this feels so fabricated, so forced. It's ridiculous. It is. Oh my God. And he has a fight with him, which is fine. But it's spliced with Fisk having a fight with Adam. You know, remember Adam, Vanessa's fling she had while he was gone, that he's been keeping in his basement as a prisoner? Well, he gives Adam an axe to fight him, which was a great scene. Fisk giving a man an axe because he thinks it would be unfair to not give him a weapon. It says a lot about his character. It was very good, very awesome scene. In that moment, the audience is engaged. The actual fight is pointless. And I think almost the writers must have known it because they spliced it with Matt's to jazz it up. But we have no stakes in this. We don't care. What does the audience even want to happen? Does the audience want Adam to get away? We don't care about Adam. We've never really talked to this guy. He's just kind of this whimpering, sad man in a cage. We don't care about him. Do we want what do we like? There's no stakes. We don't care. And also, we don't think he's gonna win with the axe. We don't think that Fisk is gonna die here. So there's nothing. It would have been so much more powerful to cut the entire fight scene out. And Fisk gives him the axe, and then it cuts away. And the next time we see him, he's dragging Adam back into the cage. We don't need to see that fight. We know how that fight is going to turn out. It just would have been stronger, and then we could have focused on the scenes that actually matter. This splicing thing, and the show will keep doing that. And I'm not a fan of it. I'm not. Anyway, let's go on to episode... Where's my freak... Alright. Episode 7. Basically, in episode 7, Muse is Matt's girlfriend's patient, and like he reveals that he's Muse to her, and then attacks her and is draining her of blood. And it's basically most of the show was that. And then, do I even need to explain this? Matt comes to rescue her. They have a fight, and she, like, kind of delirious on blood or whatever, shoots Muse and he dies. And she's, like, losing a lot of blood. And Matt tries to save her and does. And that's most of what happened in that episode. There's also that BB lady with Fisk's aide. Like, Fisk's aide is, like, kind of being tough with her. It's an okay scene, I guess. And then the task force takes credit for Muse's death, so people don't know that Daredevil did it. And then there's the Fisk part is basically one of Fisk's goons, criminal goons, is trying to betray him through Vanessa, and Vanessa pretends that she's on board with it, but really sent him to get killed, and then he gets killed, and that was that episode, and that's fine. I don't have much to say about it. I really don't. So we're gonna move on. Episode 8. More Vanessa standing with Fisk. She finds out about Adam. Fisk tells her about the Adam dungeon in the basement, and she kills Adam for Fisk. And okay, that happened. Then Poindexter, Bullseye, gets released into general prison and then asks Matt to come see him, and is like trying to make a deal to tell him about why Foggy Nelson got killed. And Matt's like in the process of trying to figure out what Foggy was doing during that time, because he figures out that there might be something going on there. But he doesn't make a deal with Bullseye. He bangs his face in and actually makes him lose a tooth. But he doesn't lose a tooth. Bullseye keeps the broken tooth in his mouth and then uses it to escape by, like, projecting it out of his mouth and into someone's eye. It is metal and over the top and awesome. Very in keeping with Bullseye's special set of skills. I loved it. That was awesome. That was an awesome just mini escape scene. It was great. Meanwhile, Matt is having some friction with his girlfriend, who has somehow come to the conclusion that she saved herself from Muse, and that vigilantes are, what did I write down here? Insecure, pathetic, dangerous men. And Matt's like, but Daredevil saved you. And she's like, no, I saved myself. Did we watch the same scene, lady? If they want her to come to this conclusion, you had to have shot it differently, because she was not delirious enough to not know what was happening. It was very clear what Daredevil came in to do and what was happening there. And this conflation with vigilantes and the serial killer, like, in her head, it doesn't read as... It makes no sense. It makes her seem so stupid, so ungrateful. It also pounds home the problem I have with this character is, what is her point? She was a terrible psychologist to Muse in like the scene where he's draining her blood, like everything out of her mouth. Even I knew was a bad thing to be telling him. That wasn't going to fix the situation at all. And she sucked with the Fisk marriage counseling scenes. She didn't work there. And then in Matt's girlfriend, she's such a nothing character. There's nothing about their relationship. You don't understand why they're into each other. What they don't seem to have any shared interests or any shared anything. Every scene with them is either like nothing pleasantries, kissing, or her nagging about how his life is falling apart, which a lot of people do. It seems like half of almost every person he talks to like is like, what are you doing? Your life is falling apart, even though that's not what it feels like. And this is really hurt by being the season 4 of Netflix's Daredevil, because he was in a much worse place in season 3, so it doesn't read as his life falling apart at all to someone who's watched Netflix's Daredevil. It's like, he's doing okay. What are you talking about? They're constant nagging and her being so, she's terrible. She's so unlikable. I feel like the writers wanted her to feel strong and capable, and she just comes across as an idiot and so self-absorbed. She's ridiculous. The writing of that character is just so disappointing, because you could have done something very interesting with her. And she could have been what they wanted, I think, was a linchpin, a character that tied Fisk and Muse and Matt all together. And that's not what this is. That's not. It's just, she needs a personality trait for that to work. And she has no personality. Oh my God. What is happening? Why? Every time we have a scene with her, she's either like kind of this distant professional figure in a council chamber and has like zero, like her face is blank and there's nothing to go with, or she's with Matt and there's nothing there too. There's nothing but static. There's nothing. Anyway, she gets invited by Fisk to this black tie event, and Matt goes as her boyfriend. And there's interesting things there because he's listening to a lot of conversations, doing his like listening Zoom effect. He finds out that Fisk knows that this random guy that's shown up a couple times, it's like some rich guy that is actually a vigilante, the swordsman or something. I don't know. So he hears that, and then BB is trying to get the police inspector to spill the beans on Fisk. And there's like a lot of things going around, and then he like dances with Vanessa because he suddenly realizes or thinks that Vanessa called the hit on Foggy, and he's pissed, and so he's like angrily having this dance with Vanessa, which is visually interesting. And then while that's happening, Poindexter sneaks into there and tries to snipe Fisk, and Matt hears it and throws himself in front of him and takes the bullet, which is supposed to tie in to his conversation with Bullseye, where Bullseye is basically like, isn't it the markings of a good man to try to save your worst enemy? And this is trying to tie with that. I'm not sure it feels right. Like, I don't know if that's very in keeping with Daredevil. Matt has a strong no-kill policy for himself, but has not really done much to stop other people from killing around him. That's never been a strong part of him. I mean, he encourages it, but I mean, thinking of like Stick and Elektra and everything around that, the idea that he's so against people killing around him that he would throw himself in front of the guy he hates the most. I mean, it's a striking action and it's a very provocative action. I'm not sure it makes sense for Matt, but it's interesting. And so we leave off of him like shot in the shoulder, and I assume there's going to be a whole fight with Bullseye in the next episode with him shot in the shoulder, I guess. Okay, I'm excited for the finale because that was interesting. It ended on an interesting note. It feels like this entire season was twiddling its thumbs to get to this point. Like nothing about the previous season feels like it led up to this. Not really. Like muse, actor, everything just kind of feels like a waiting game. And I kind of know that's not really the show's fault. Or I should say, that's more the fault of the circumstances. Based on what I've been reading, it's because of the way they had to pivot the focus of the show. This episode that I just watched and the finale that's coming out today will be about the new direction, is the only things that are completely new. And so everything else was kind of Frankenstein together from pieces of an older vision. Okay. If that is the case, it is very impressive how coherent the show has been, because the show hasn't been incoherent. It's been easy to piece together and straightforward. It feels like it hasn't gone anywhere and it doesn't have much momentum. But for a story with that background, I am very impressed at how okay it is. It's not great, kind of mediocre, but it's not bad. And something with that production past, you'd expect to just be straight up bad. So I'm very impressed if that's the case, because this was watchable. Anyway, I'm curious to see how they end it. With the new vision in mind, putting aside everything else. I'm curious. I'm sure my review of it will come out way after it drops. But look forward to that. Subscribe if you want to be notified when it finally drops. Also, the new chapter of Bonesong has dropped on Patreon. Just as a reminder for all who don't know, that is my book. You do not have to become a member on Patreon. You just have to click the link and read it. There's no walls to break through to read the first chapters. And I encourage you to do so. They're better paced than what I just watched, that's for sure. Happy reading. Take care, guys.